Hey everyone, so a bit of an impromptu video here on the back of a short video that I posted on Instagram this week, which sparked some really good conversations with tons of coaches, players and parents. Even ATP and WTA coaches chipped in with their thoughts. And so I thought I'd share this video with you to get your feelings on the topic and to dive in a little bit deeper, as in my opinion it's a big problem that we have in junior tennis, which is hurting the next generation of tennis players. First, I'll let you watch the video before we dive a little deeper. So this week I was having a really interesting chat with my coaching team and I thought I'd extend the conversation to you. We were talking about how junior tennis nowadays is very, very different to how it was when we grew up. And we actually feel that it's hurting the next generation of tennis players. When we grew up, we spent tons and tons of time at the tennis club, just messing around with our mates, hitting drop shots and slices and tweeners and all that sort of thing. Whereas nowadays, that doesn't seem to happen as much. Any junior player that seems to have some kind of talent tends to only play in structured sessions, whether that's in one-to-one or group coaching with a tennis coach, or whether it's on court with their parents or in competitions, which I honestly think is stopping juniors from learning some of the most important skills. One, overall hand skills and touch around the net. Two, the ability to adapt to different shots and funky balls that are coming towards them. And more importantly, the enjoyment factor. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this, and I look forward to chatting to you in the comments. And so there you saw my thoughts and feelings on how kids are lacking in free play and the chance to get on court, just have fun and experiment. But looking into the comments of this post, it goes even deeper than that. Coaches and adult players were talking about how culture was different back when they were playing tennis. They used to go home from school, put the TV on and watch their favorite tennis players in action. They shaped their game styles and the way that they dressed around their idols. Yet nowadays, kids are not really watching much tennis at all. Now I'm going to talk through some of the causes of why kids aren't spending time doing free play, but also why they're not watching matches. I'm also going to talk about why I feel so strongly about why they should spend that free time on court. And at the end of the video, I'm going to come up with a couple of my solutions, but I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments as well. There was one other nuance that wasn't brought up in the video nor in the comments, but I've had lots of conversations with pro coaches about, and it's how more and more junior players are having their parents courtside or even on the court during their coaching sessions. Now, when a kid starts out with their tennis journey, I have absolutely nothing against their parents coming on court. Their parents probably want to see how they're getting on and what the sessions consist of. However, as a child gets more and more into their tennis, I honestly think that having their parents courtside for the whole of their session can actually hurt their tennis. And it links to what I was talking about when it comes to kids lacking in free play opportunities. When they're constantly being watched in their coaching sessions, it gives them less independence on the tennis court. At the end of the day, tennis is a one-on-one sport, and players, when they're on the court, have to learn how to problem solve by themselves and deal with adversity as well. And so if you're a tennis parent watching this and you usually like to sit on court or courtside when your kids having their coaching sessions or even during tournaments, I completely get it, and if I was a parent I would probably want to too, but sometimes it's more important to think about what is best for your child. And in most instances, I really think it would be good if you could give them some more space. Maybe a great opportunity for you to go and get things done for yourself, grab a coffee, have a chat with some of the other parents, give your child more room and space for growth. Anyway, let's get back into the real topic about free play time for junior tennis players. Now, there are tons and tons of reasons why we're seeing a massive decline in this free play time for juniors. Number one, probably the most important, is the overall culture nowadays. Kids are spending so much more time on screens and far less time outdoors. And with this happening, attention spans are shrinking. But as well as this, us as coaches, tennis clubs, and tennis parents are enabling this to happen. Now, don't get me wrong, coaching is vital for a junior player's progression, but alongside this, I think it's vital to supplement this coaching with free play time, away from tennis coaches, with other junior players and parents, and just having fun. Tennis clubs, especially in the UK, have their hands tied behind their back, as there are more and more child protection and safeguarding rules that stop children from getting on court on their own. Now, of course, I'm a massive advocate for lots of these safeguarding rules, as we want to protect children as much as we possibly can. However, in my opinion, lots of these rules go so far in that direction that it really limits the opportunities that kids have nowadays. And outside of culture, coaches trying to grow their businesses and clubs being restricted, there's also the drive coming from parents. Naturally, parents want the best for their kids and want to give them the opportunity for them to reach their potential. However, I believe that tennis development is misunderstood. From the outside, it looks like structured coaching is the best way for a player to get better. And as I mentioned, it's definitely a massive part of it. However, if every single hour that a child spends on court is structured, they're not having the opportunity to think for themselves. They're always being given the information and given the answers. And so there's no chance for them to think for themselves. Now, yes, if your child's got a really good coach, they'll do lots of that for them within the sessions. But as I mentioned before, there's tons and tons to be learned when you're on court on your own. Now, parents may also look at this free play time to be a bit of a mess around for the kids and almost a waste of time. And yes, if you send a bunch of kids onto a tennis court, they are going to mess about, but they're going to make friends, they're going to have way more fun on the tennis court, which is going to encourage longevity in the sport. Now, this mess around session doesn't have to make up the majority of your kids' sessions on court. Just an hour a week would be enough. But I would also supplement it with some practice sets. Get them on court with another junior of a similar standard and leave them to it. Let them get out there and play practice sets. This way, it's a slightly more structured version of their free play time. But definitely don't sit on court watching them, as all they're going to be doing is trying to impress you. They'll probably play pushy tennis and they won't be able to experiment as much as they would if you weren't there. Now, alongside the benefits that kids get from free play of developing hand skills and touch, making friends, enjoying tennis more, which is the most important thing, it's also more cost effective for you. You don't have to spend money on coaches for every single hour of their week. Find a local park court and get on there and have some fun. Finally, the comments that the coaches made about kids not watching tennis as much as they used to, I completely agree with. And to be honest, it's really tough to watch tennis nowadays. Most often, kids are going to be consuming tennis content via social media, and usually the videos that they're going to be watching are the highlight reels. Now, if kids are watching Rafael Nadal wrap forehands around the net post, Nick Kyrgios hitting tweeners, or Bublik hitting shots with his handle, that's the tennis they're going to want to play. They don't see the boring side of tennis, the long rallies, the well-structured points, the tennis that they really need to be practicing. What they're seeing are these Hollywood shots. And so when they go on court, that's what they think tennis looks like. And they don't really understand how to build points properly. Now, as tennis is becoming increasingly difficult to watch on television, there are lots of YouTube channels that you can watch that show full matches from the past. I know it's not the same as watching live tennis, and whenever possible, try to encourage and spark that excitement when their favorite player is playing. Get it on the TV or get it up on YouTube. But what I would say is if your kid is only watching highlights, it's better than them not watching anything at all. So what can we do to encourage kids to get on court more often outside of their coaching sessions? First, it starts with parents. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about the benefits of free play, and you'll try to encourage your kids to get out onto court just to have some fun. Maybe you'll step back a little bit from their coaching sessions and tournaments and let them explore their tennis. Next up, the onus comes to coaches and clubs to try to find unique ways to allow your kids to get on court more often. At our club, we've introduced a junior mix-in, which is free for all juniors at the club to come along and to have fun on the tennis courts. The sessions are purposefully not run by our coaching team, but run by parent volunteers. The club's paid for these parents to have their safeguarding courses, criminal record checks and first aid courses so that the kids can play safely on court with a couple of parent volunteers. The coaching teams have given them some ideas of different games that they can play, but what they do is they leave the kids to get to it. The parents are there just to make sure that the kids stay safe and they're not whacking each other with rackets, but it's gone down really well. And what's more is quarterly, we're going to invite all of the parents on court with the kids to do some fun parent versus child competitions. This has been a real game changer developing the community at our tennis club, but it's also really helped not only our junior players, but also their parents to enjoy their tennis journeys more. So coaches and clubs, I challenge you to think of unique and imaginative ways to help your junior players to get more out of their tennis time on court, not just with coaches. Like I said earlier, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this subject. So join the conversation in the comments below, and I look forward to chatting to you there. I'll see you in the next video.